I woke up at 5:12 today, and immediately, remembered, that it was year two. You know, today is the second year anniversary, I guess, if you will, since you passed away. And I woke up that early, and it just I don't remember last year at all. So I don't. And I think last year I was still in so much shock surrounding the first anniversary of your passing. So it the second year, it threw me for a loop. I woke up and I had the same anxiety that I had the night that you passed. It reminded me exactly of that, just waking up and out of a sound sleep, and immediately it being panicked, because I remember that night. I mean, how would I ever forget it? But I remember, or that morning, I guess I should say. And I remember, shooting out of bed, thinking that I heard my phone, but not certain if I heard my phone. It was the tail end. And so I got up, and it was immediately when I woke up, it was just I was already panicked. And so it was my body knew, and and then I saw my phone, and I saw that, Gemma had called me. And that was I know a lot of people don't follow. I don't have a lot of followers on this page, and I don't mind that. I don't make it to go viral or anything like that. It's been a journey of my grief, and usually the style that I do it in is more so um, spoken letters to my daughter, for just telling her how I feel, and what's going on, things like that, and when I started this channel, I did it, I started the third day after she passed away. And for the first couple of months after she passed away, I would come outside. I would wake up early. It was I was just traumatized from, obviously the morning that she passed away. And so I would wake up at 4:30, 5 o'clock, every single morning, and I would come out, and I would record a video. And I did that every day for the first 2 months, and it felt like it was just a way for me to have, it was the only time that it was really just my time, my alone time, that I could just think clear with thoughts and just speak to her. And so I would, and I would record the videos for her, and you can see it, on this channel, those early days. And then they became more spaced out as time went on. After the first anniversary last year of her passing, I stopped recording, almost entirely. I think I didn't record until 6 months after the year anniversary. And I hate calling it an anniversary, but at the same time, my belief is that she is, it's nothing to I mean, yes, I'm sad because she's gone, of course, but where she went is a natural part of life. And so I call it an anniversary, even though it's, doesn't feel like a festive anniversary, but it's an anniversary nonetheless. And leading up to this day, I always dread when July comes, because, and I as the years go on, I'm starting to dread even when a new year approaches. It's like it's just all year, actually. All year, it sucks, and then it, has moments of not sucking, but I find myself, you know, like dreading when the new year starts, because I know that it's just going to be a countdown to getting to July, which is gonna suck. And then on top of that, once July gets here and passes, we enter into holiday season, which the holiday season for me sucks. I once July hits, then I find that the year sucks also, because then we're getting into holiday season, which holiday season is hard also, because you're not here, and because you loved Halloween and Christmas and all of these holidays that now are just sad for me. Of course I still participate in stuff because I know that's what you would want, but it is it's hard. It's really hard. And I woke up this morning at 5:12 on the dot, and I knew what today was leading up to the week. I knew going to sleep last night that I was going to wake up, and it was it was going to be here. The day was going to be here. It was going to be the second anniversary. And so there was like a level of like anxiety that went along with it, but at the same time, it's gonna come. I can't freeze time. It's gonna I have to deal with it. And you never know how you're gonna deal with it when these things come about. When you're grieving, especially when it is the loss of your child. Like you can't plan. I would tell people when they asked me how I was doing, in the last couple of months, I would say, oh, I'm doing better because I planned my grief, now. And I'm just like, what a stupid thing to say, because you cannot plan your grief. You can't plan how you're going to react, when things happen. And so, I didn't know, and I still don't know how today's gonna go. I mean, I woke up early. I haven't done that in so long, to come out here and talk, but I woke up and I said, and it was like, as soon as I opened my eyes, I knew, what day it was. It didn't even need time to wake up and like really, think about it. It was like, as soon as I opened my eyes, I knew that it was. And it was just like, all right, let's get on with it, I guess. Almost is kind of the feeling. But I want to honor today and honor my daughter's memory, and just honor the fact that she was here. She was alive at one point, because grief is trippy. And not just grief, but I think like having the human experience of losing someone losing someone that you love so much, losing someone who is such a important part. I mean, your child, it's like we expect, it disrupts the natural order of things because we expect our parents to die, we expect for ourselves to die, but you never expect for your children to die. So when that does happen, it just disrupts, I guess, what you would consider the natural order of things. And it just like your brain really does suffer a traumatic experience that takes some time to process, like even 2 years later. And I'm still trying to process this immense loss. And I find that there are times when, I feel like outside of myself. Like I'll look at her pictures, or I'll talk to her, just kind of to the air, and but it's mainly like when I'm walking through my house, and I look at a picture, and I'm just like, damn, bro, like you're really gone. Like you are actually gone from this earth, like never coming back. Because there will be times where it's like I, without really thinking too much on it, can trick myself into believing that she is gone, like somewhere, like she's at college, or she's at a friend's house, or she's somewhere, like my mind for a split second will have a thought like that, and then I'll have to quickly remind it, it's like, no, she's gone, like she's not just gonna come back, mysteriously, like a couple of years from now, like it's a wrap. And like that's just so heavy to process, especially when it's like your child, it's a heavy process. And especially when it's a child that, like, she wasn't a child, she was 23 when she passed. So she wasn't a child, she was a young adult. And so I think that adds a layer to it when your child has been here for a significant amount of time. And I mean, this is not to say like that anybody who loses a child, like, oh, you should get over it if it was a baby, or, whatever. No, not at all. I'm just saying there's an added, layer to the grief when it was like, I had her so young. I had her at 16, and I knew her longer than I didn't know her. She was with me for 23 years. I came out here, like I instinctually felt that I needed to come out here and record, like I did. But now I'm out here and I don't know what to say, because, what can you say? What can you say? It's been 2 years without my precious daughter, and it's hard. It's hard. It's really, really hard. It's another year that's a reminder that she's not coming back. It's another year of a reminder of the most tragic thing that will ever happen in my entire life. Like nothing else will top this, of course. Another year passing by of, that's another thing that I've been not struggling with, but just trying to deal with, because I try not to control anything, I guess, especially this, since the first anniversary, when it comes to how, like, my emotions surrounding it, surrounding my grief, around anything really in life. I just, I let it flow with soft control, because, if this has taught me anything, of course it taught me that, nothing is yours. And if it's yours, it may not remain yours for the entirety of your life, And so I have just gone with the flow this week, I went with the flow when I felt, this morning when I woke up to come out here and just talk. There have been some very interesting moments this week. Um, just random things that have happened that will have me be like, it seems a little too coincidental considering, you know, what the week is, what it's leading up to. But the last couple of days, like yesterday, today's Saturday, the 11th, and so 9th, 8th, and 7th, I believe it started. I don't think it's been all week, but there has been a frog that we thought was in the air conditioner, like somehow trapped in the air conditioner, which Dad was like, there's no way. Like, there's just no way that a frog is going to get trapped in the window unit, But every night around the same time, we will hear a frog. And my daughter loved frogs. Like, she loved frogs so much. And so now in her memory, I buy, anything frog that I think she would like. So I have a little memorial area set up for her in my living room. And, I'm always on the hunt for random frog things. And so she has this like cute frog touch lamp next to her picture, and there's like little frog figurines that I get, and there's like not tapestries, but like just frog wall decor. She was very much into like funny frog pictures, like frogs in like proper attire, like suits and things like that, just real funny stuff. So frogs have been like a major thing, throughout since she passed, and so we heard this frog, but we only hear it like one time throughout the whole evening. That's what I was thinking, and I was like, there's no way that the frog, because I felt bad. I was like, oh no. At first I was thinking like the frog was trapped in our window unit, but then he was like, no, there's just no way that he would be able to get in there. But this frog, every evening around 7, will just make noise just real quick, and then it doesn't do that at all, not during the day, not the rest of the night that I'm aware of, that we're in there. And so I thought that was interesting, and of course I thought about it, but you can't just like think too hard on things like that, because you just don't know, and you don't want to give yourself false hope. I don't. At least anybody can do what they want, of course, but I don't want to give myself false hope and read into too many signs, and get that deep on it, because I don't know. I don't. I can believe, but I don't know if it is her. And then, so there was that, which I thought was very interesting. Been seeing a whole lot of cardinals this week, and then I'm sure there's other things that happen, I just can't remember, but yesterday was a very interesting day, because I went to go get a package that Amazon dropped off, and as I'm walking back in the gate, my front gate, a neighbor of mine from across the street kind of yelled out to me, and she said, hi there, and I looked up and I saw her, and I waved at her. I was like, hi, and she started walking over, and I was like, oh, okay, because my area, we don't really, like, I mean, we're neighborly, of course, like, everybody's cordial and things like that, and we'll wave when you see each other, but we don't really, like, I've never gone to introduce myself. Like, now, I know my neighbors behind me very well. They're an elderly couple, and they split half their time here at this house, half of their time at a house in New Mexico. And when they're here, I love them to pieces. They're the sweetest people, always giving me dog stuff, treats and things, and chatting, checking up on me and stuff. And so I adore them, but I don't really talk to other neighbors. So she was coming over to me, and she was like, hi, I wanted to introduce myself, because I always want to, but I just never really see you outside. And so I wanted to come in and say hi. And so she introduced herself, I introduced myself, and then we just start yapping. And we talked about so much different things, but she was talking about her kids. It was just kind of one of those things where she just kind of like told me her life story, like really like kind of just on. But people do that with me anyway. I guess they feel comfortable with me, I don't know. But she started telling me about her kids and stuff, and I said, oh gosh. And I just like a lump in my throat developed, because I know the next thing she's gonna ask is if we have kids. And so I told her, I said, well, I did. And I pondered that for a minute, thinking how dumb it is to say I did, because I still do. Like, you're still, my daughter's still my daughter, and nothing's gonna take that away. But that's what I said instinctively. I just said I did. I was like, actually, this meeting right here, I was like, I'm like, tomorrow is the second anniversary since she passed away. I was like, so this meeting, us talking right now, is, significant, of course. Like, that's not lost on me. But I was just surprised at myself, because I was able to say that and not fall apart. And I mean, I felt, the tears like immediately want to come out, but I was able to just like blink them away, and just explain what happened, and got it out, and we kept on with our conversation. Because as much as you're like, well, you're sorry, I'm used to talking to my daughter in these videos like as if I'm talking to her, so you may hear me like switch back and forth. But I try not to make grief my whole personality. I try not to make the loss my whole personality, because everybody faces loss at some point in their life, and people lose their children every single day, all age children. So I know I'm not the only one, and I try not to make it seem as if I feel like I'm the only one, but it is a part of me, so I do have to let people know. And that's another thing I'm struggling with as the years, I guess, are passing by. And I know that it's expected. You can't just live in sorrow forever, every single day, just being sad. That's how it was the first year. I was just sad every day. Even though I would say the first year and a half, that's how it was. I literally cried at least once every day, and just really was in it, and I mean, it's to be expected. It was the first year. It's traumatic, and it takes you a minute to just really let it sink in that, like, this is your new normal. This is just what has to happen. So in the second year, this second year, that's what I had really struggled with, is the fact that my mind has been getting used to my daughter being gone. So with that, comes me really not crying as much. I find that when I do cry, it's like one of those cleansing cries that I need to do, where like it's hard and it's heavy, but it's, short. It's not an all-day thing. It's not an everyday thing. It's just sometimes I got to get it out, I think about her all the time still, of course, but I've discovered it's just more of an acceptance. I'm accepting it more that she's gone, and that bothers me. And I was talking to her about it the other day, and I said that it bothered me that my mind was getting used to her being gone, because I never wanted to get used to her being gone, but I knew that it was something that was going to have to happen, because that's the only way, it's the only way to survive this, is to accept, because the years are going to come. The years are going to keep coming, like Smash Mouth said, like the years start, what do they say? The years keep coming and they just, something like that, but y'all know what I mean. But they do, starting tomorrow, it enters into the 3rd year, that she's been gone. And like, that is just so wild for me to say that. And it feels so disrespectful, but that's what it is, It's just the facts. And so the fact that we're entering into the 3rd year that I've been without her, and it's just like, that's just so heavy. Like, it's so heavy to me, and it's so crazy that it has to be something that, every year it's just going to pass by, and I just have to get accustomed to each year passing by that I don't have her, that since she's been gone. And I'm like, there's going to come a day where it's going to be like, I'm like, damn, it's been like 10 years since you've been gone. Or, oh my gosh, it's been like 20 years, 40 years. Like, just like, it's going to be for the rest of my life. I'm just going to be so shocked that the years pass by and I go without you. And it sucks, it sucks. What can I say? It sucks. But each year I'm going to, just honor my grief, honor my daughter in the ways that I see fit, that would please her and are also very cathartic for me. And that's really all we can do. So to any parent who watched this and are grieving also, I want to tell you that my heart is with you. This is so hard. This is, there's no words beyond it's hard, whether you're in the 1st month, the 3rd month, the 3rd year, the 3rd decade, you will never get over the fact that you outlived your child. You will never get over the fact that something that was, flesh of your flesh and blood of your blood is gone. I feel like our children are like our little twins. We share DNA and everything, especially mothers, and so when that twin is gone, you feel that forever, but on the plus side of that, the bond is never broken, and our kids will find us and find ways to let us know that they are around us all the time. I don't, in the 1st year it was very like prominent, or it could have just been my brain thinking it was, but I know it was her the 1st year, just letting her presence be known a lot, to kind of, help me and my mom, transition into settling into our grief. And, she let us know I'm around and I'm fine, I'm around still. But I noticed, it trails off, and I'll get signs mainly like when I'm having a hard day, or I'm feeling very much like in despair. Then she will come in and send me a sign, like the frog in the AC, the ghost frog in the AC, and stuff like that. So that's just the way it is. But yeah, so if you're grieving, just do the best that you can. That's all you can do. Get therapy if you need to. Journal, record videos, literally do whatever you need to do to get yourself through this time, because you know that's all you can do, really. And to my baby Tiana, I miss you, kid, so much, so much. And I literally can't believe that it's been 2 years since you've been gone. That just blows my mind, because you know I was used to talking to you every single day. I would talk to my daughter every single day, and because she was at college and going to college, doing her thing, living her life, so I didn't see her every day. It was usually once a week or once every 2 weeks, but we talked every day. And I miss that so much. I miss getting a text from her. I missed talking to her. I miss her smell. I miss little things like the way her hands looked. They looked like a baby hand still. I miss seeing her nails, because she always loved to have long natural nails that she took really good care of. I miss seeing her nails, and I'm thankful that I would study those parts of her, so that I could miss them now and could think about them. I miss the way her mouth moves when she talks, because her lips would, I don't know, the way she would speak, her lips would almost roll when she would talk, and it was so strange, but in an interesting way to me. I miss seeing that. I missed a secret handshake that we used to do with each other whenever we would leave, whenever we would part ways. We used to do a secret handshake. I miss how funny she was. She was such a comedian and had such a dark sense of humor, which I do too. So we would just crack each other up with the stuff we would say to each other. Like, we just literally had no filter. We would say anything about anything, but we could do that because we were, one and the same. I miss what could have been. I miss, that I didn't get to see her graduate from college. But she was so close to being finished. I miss that I was not able to see what she would have done with her life, I miss that she was not able to move in. She had plans to move in with her best friend into their own apartment, their first apartment. I miss that, I won't get to see her experience that. That I won't get to see her experience having her first love, or getting married, or having children if that's what she wanted to do. Like, I miss it all. I miss seeing what could have been, all the potential that is gone. But, she showed me some wild things since she passed, in the form of the things that she can do and take shape in. And, it's funny because a couple of days after she had, July in Texas always seems to have times where it's like there's no rain. We barely get any rain in the summertime, but July will have, like, I guess, these freak storms, and at least one for the month. And last year, and actually the year that she died, there was a freak storm that happened 3 days, I believe, after she passed. I mean, it poured. It was crazy. And I remember me and my mom just stood outside and watched it, and I immediately thought, because we are believers, in the Lord and in heaven. And I believed that that storm was her entering into heaven and being upset, you know, that she had to go, because she was still able to be down here spirit wise and just kind of like flutter around, and she had to go to heaven, so she was upset about it. And so she created that storm to let us know she was going into heaven, kicking and screaming. But at least that's what we told ourselves, to make ourselves feel better. And last year it rained, I think a couple of days before, if not the day of the first anniversary. And then now, today I saw on the news, well, leading the week, this whole week, I've been seeing on the news that it's supposed to be a strong chance of rain today, you know, on the second anniversary. So we shall see. We need the rain, so I'm not hating on it, but I just find it funny because she loved the rain. She loved a rainstorm. That was her favorite kind of day. She was very much a homebody, so she loved when it rained and she could just be in the house chilled up, you know, with her snacks and talking to her friends and playing her video games or her records or whatever she wanted to do. Draw, because she was an artist. Draw, you know, spend the day just being creative. She loved a rainstorm, so it would be perfect if today rained and I could honor her by, you know, having the same kind of day, just a chill day in the house while it rains, doing who knows what, you know, crafting, just anything to honor her, spend the day how she would spend the day. So I think that's what I'm gonna do today. But yeah, if you stayed this long, thank you for listening to my grief ramble. This is year 2, the second anniversary since my daughter passed away, and you know, I'm just trucking along the best I can. Thank you all. God bless you all. Have a good one. I'll see you guys you know, whenever I decide to pick up the phone again and record.